Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm just going to do a little weekly check-in with you and share some updates. This week I've been thinking about being a multidisciplinary artist. So I'm a musician, I'm a writer, and I'm also an artist as well. And I have different seasons of working in those genres. Sometimes they all come together. So I've been known to release a blog, a painting, and a piece of music that goes with that painting all at the same time. I find occasionally it's quite tricky to coordinate that, so it doesn't always come together at the same time because you get different ideas, and the process isn't always short, it isn't always at the same time. So I might get an idea for a painting and then later get an idea for a piece of music, and then I think, I want to write about this as well and the journey I've been on. So it can be tricky to time those three elements together. However, I also have seasons where I just paint, or I just write music and I want to perform, or I just want to write blogs and books and prose and ideas. So it's a very different life and a very different carousel of things that come round all the time, which keeps things interesting. However, I went to see Amie McNee. Some of you may know her. She's on YouTube and Instagram under the title Inspired to Write. She's a writer, a novelist, and she's written a book called We Need Your Art for artists, basically saying don't give up, keep going. It doesn't matter how the world thinks your art should be, you do it in your way. And I went to hear her speak in Oxford, which was pretty amazing. She talked a lot about what was in the book. But I chatted with her afterwards about the reality of being a multidisciplinary artist and the fact that your audience and often the industries want you to focus on one area. So it may be the area that I've been most pushed into is music, which I love, and that's definitely the right thing. But I was also an artist in my teens, and I came back to it again in my late 30s and have had more success with it in my 40s. And then I've always had a passion to write. So I've written blogs for about 14 years now, something like that. And then I wrote a book with a colleague and friend of mine, Rachel Forsyth. We wrote a book called The Resilient Artist on coping with the different seasons in life and how to be resilient and keep going and keep having faith in what you're doing. When I spoke to Amie about this, she basically said stuff the niche. It doesn't matter. You don't need to have a niche area. You don't need to just work in one area like music or art or writing. If you want to do all three, you make it work, and that is your niche. Your niche is you. You are who you are, and you have something unique to bring to the world. I just found this really interesting, and it's true. From a Christian perspective, God gives us all a unique voice, a unique set of gifts and talents, a unique personality, a unique character. And the way we view the world is unique. The way we navigate the world is unique. And to share that with others just enriches our experience of being human, and enriches our experience of journeying with God and having faith through every season of life. So I just want to encourage you this week that if you are struggling as an artist to know what your niche is, what your area is, and it may be that you're an artist and you've always been an illustrator or into drawing and sketching, and you feel you want to branch out into art, into painting, acrylic painting, but you're not sure how to do that, and everyone's saying, no, don't bother, I think you should do this, that and the other. Have faith in what you're feeling inside. Pray it through and ask God, is this something you want me to try? I find that trying new genres and new skills and new ideas makes me more creative. The more creative we are, the more tools we have in that box, the more creative we're going to be long term. So just ponder on that this week. If you are feeling that you want to branch out into something new, have the courage to do it. I have spent 48 years with people saying to me, I don't think you should bother with art, you should sing. Or I don't think you should bother with music, you should just write. Or I don't think you should write, you should just carry on with the art. And everyone's got an opinion on what I should be doing. And I'm ashamed to say that sometimes I've taken that on board and gone, maybe they're right. And I should not have listened, because actually I know what's right for me. I know what God has asked me to do, what God has called me to do, and therefore it's really important that I focus in on what He's asking me to do and block out the noise. Now, by all means, you need people who support you and can tell you when you're about to make a mistake. Doesn't always mean they're right, doesn't always mean they're wrong either. But you need people who you can trust and who will pray it through with you and can give you good advice. But if you know that God is saying something to you, you know deep down it won't go away, then you need to follow through with it and do what God is asking you to do. So what have I done this week to be creative? I have got a big concert coming up on the 11th of October. You may remember in 2019 that I worked with the English National Jazz Orchestra, and they did a concert which was jazz arrangements of my songs. Rachel Forsyth arranged them many years ago, and I was approached last year and asked would I like to do a repeat of the concert, which I answered yes, that'd be lovely. So I have been preparing this week for that concert, slightly annoyed. So from the last gig I had a folder with all the music in, and I'd written lyrics on and notes that I needed to remember things, and I don't throw anything like that away, but can I find it? No, the folder has gone. During the pandemic I had a bit of a clear out, and I'm wondering whether that folder disappeared then, but it's highly unlikely because I don't really throw music out. But anyway, because I've lost the folder, I've had to spend some time this week reprinting off the music, writing on some notes, making sure the lyrics are clear. So that's been this week's job. And then I've also been dabbling a bit with watercolour again. I had a chat with someone who's quite a seasoned artist and just said, I've been doing some watercolour, it's not gone in the way I wanted. And the first question this chap asked me was, what type of paints are you using? And I had to confess they were really cheap ones. And he said, well, that's where your problem is. If you need to buy a higher quality paint to get the technique and the result that you're looking for. So that'll be my next job, to go and buy some half decent watercolours. I've been recommended Daniel Smith, and then also Winsor & Newton do a professional grade watercolour set, and that's what people have said, use the professional grade paints, not the rubbish cheap ones that I bought. Never mind. So yes, I've been thinking about that and just thinking about the future and what I want to do with certain projects. I find a huge amount of creativity flows from journaling. Many of you will know Julia Cameron and her morning pages. I'm not a morning person, so they're definitely not in the morning, but during the day or in the evening, I tend to spend some time just putting my thoughts on paper, and that's when I get ideas. I also found walking really helps. I love to walk, which I've said in previous videos, but it just really helps just to focus the mind, and I'm very aware of what's around me when I'm walking. So the crunch of leaves, the smell today when I went out for a walk, with crunchy leaves, and the smell of slightly rotting apples, which is cidery, so the autumn is coming in. There's definitely a clash of seasons today, so it's quite warm. It's been 23 degrees with sun, but it's extremely windy, and the leaves are on the ground, and so autumn's coming in. That's got that autumn wind with the leaves, but we've got the heat of summer still. So I thought, I'm ready for autumn. I'm ready for the season to change. So my takeaway for you for this week is to think about what your niche is. What is the area that really brings life and joy to you and makes you want to create? What are the things you feel that God has called you to? What's your vision? What makes you you? What makes you unique? What's your unique selling point? Because those are the things that will help the world understand who Jesus is. Those are the things that you're going to do really well and communicate messages to other people around you in a unique way, and it will really help them in any part of their journey. It could be that you have an experience of something that's been really difficult in your life and you've come through it, and it'll encourage them. Could be that helps them to see a piece of scripture in a different light. Could be that helps them answer a problem that's been going on in their lives or at work or in their families, whatever. Could be that it just gets them to think in a different way altogether. So ponder on that, work out what your niche is, pray into it, and then just go for it. But don't give up because someone else has said, that's not your area, that's not your thing. You work out what it is with Jesus.